Gabriella Gonzales is the manager of marketing, business, and development at the, as well as communications of the Cocoa Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited. And we are very excited to be speaking with her this evening. Hello, Gabriella, how are you?
Hi, DK. Thank you so much for having me on your program. I'm excited to be here. I'm very good, thank you.
Very glad to hear. Give us an overview of the Cocoa Development Company, thanks.
We are actually a special purpose company of the government of Trinidad and Tobago within the agricultural sector. We started full operations in, I would say, late 2017, which is when most of our staff came on board, particularly our field staff and the managers. We were developed as a company to give better focus to cocoa and the cocoa industry because cocoa has always been identified by the government as a driver of economic diversification. So we are essentially the premier institution promoting and coordinating the development of the fine flavor sector. And we work with all of the cocoa stakeholders along the value chain in Trinidad, from farmers to exporters to chocolatiers to manufacturers and the other agencies, other partner agencies that we also collaborate with.
Now, I want to get into the work that you do with stakeholders along the value chain. But before we do that, though, World Chocolate Day was celebrated on the 7th of July. What was that like? Because everything has been a little more low-key because of the, understandably so, because of the pandemic. But was there anything that the company did?
Well, yes, definitely low-key. Well, Trinidad has an interesting combination. For World Chocolate Day, usually there are lots of pop-up mall events and consumer events that would feature all of the local chocolatiers. And those would be highly interactive persons, interacting with the producers. This year, it turned more into doing online activities. So our company, for example, would have done a large showcase on our social media to promote the work of all the persons making chocolate products in Trinidad, because we have a lot of amazing talent from people who are making chocolate from locally grown cocoa. So what we try to do is ensure that they are promoted, all of their information is out there for them to be able to get sales from this type of promotion, because that is critical for their livelihoods. But apart from international and world Chocolate Day, there's a huge signature event for this industry locally, which is World Cocoa and Chocolate Day. So we actually have a local amalgam that happens every year in October. And this is an event that is the largest event of the industry locally, and it's a collaboration with the Cocoa Research Center. And we believe that this year that event may also end up being online because COVID has, sort of eliminated some of the planning opportunities to secure an event and those things. But, everybody's making adjustments and working things out as best as we can to ensure all the stakeholders have the opportunities to be exposed, and have the selling opportunities, which are really critical for them.
In terms of exposing and promoting the work that is being done locally, there was a presence at the Moruga Agro-Processing and Light Industrial Park. Take me through that.
Well, for the Light Industrial Park, cocoa again and cocoa processing was identified as one of the primary activities that they wanted to have in the factory shell down there, because that Moruga is a significant cocoa growing area, as well as surrounding areas of Pool, Rio Claro, Beach, Tableland. So we have a lot of cocoa growers who are becoming cocoa processors and value-add makers. Also at the Moruga Agro Park launch event was House of Arundel. They did an exhibition and a display at the launch, and they have expressed interest in occupying the factory shelves. So our role really is to try and help the larger groups of farmers and value-added persons secure their shelf spaces, as well as we also looked at investors for the industry and try to channel them to like cocoa cooperatives and persons who have an interest in expanding their business and in growing.
Now, is there a cutoff point, or do you say, okay, at this point I can help you? You just spoke about larger individuals or larger outfits. What is the measuring stick that you use to determine that?
Well, a lot of it has to do, well, there are stakeholders who reach out, but a lot of it has to do, it's different interactions, as in we have a very skilled field team who interacts on the ground with several people. And essentially, it's not so much a yardstick. The thing is, at the end of the day, our focus is on developing an industry. So every single person we recognize would need some level of attention. So it's more of a matter of saying, okay, you are at this stage, and you do almost like an assessment. Where do you want to go? Where do you see your vision for your business? And we look at the opportunities out there, the things that we are able to see from, a wider industry perspective that they may not be aware of, and try to channel them in ways to access those things, as well as we recognize that some persons may need some type of capacity building in order to access some things. So we try to work with them in a capacity building way. We work with them individually. We also even do in-house trainings and have persons come in to train persons to access higher margin products, higher margin cocoa products. So, for example, if someone was making cocoa beans, was a producer of beans, and we tried to get them to other products in the value chain, cocoa nibs, chocolates, cocoa butter, and those things, which also have high-level income, which then means that the farmer has higher earning power, as well as he has now access to different markets locally, in addition to opportunities to export the beans themselves abroad. So it's not so much a yardstick, but more like we understand that there's different needs and different ways to work with all levels of stakeholder in our industry.
Dealing with all levels of stakeholders in the industry, what kind of feedback do you get when you just gave the example of trying to have people move up the value chain? So it's not as though you just pull a root out of the ground, shake it off, and say, okay, well, it goes off to the next person. You're not just at the primary level of production. What kind of feedback do you get when you try to move people away from just doing that, or add more, or build capacity like that?
I would say, largely the feedback has been positive, because what happened is the industry itself the industry previously was a little more government-controlled up until about 2013, 2014. So now that there's an open market, so you find that there's a lot of opportunities out there, and persons sometimes need to develop skill sets to be able to access opportunities, right? So you would find that a lot of the feedback tends to be positive because people have recognized, okay, I'm transitioning from one area to another. Let's say I'm a chocolatier, but maybe I need to understand, business functioning, business administration. Maybe I need some help understanding what are the food and safety requirements for me setting up, my chocolate business and things like those things. So I would say a lot of the feedback is positive because I think people have recognized that, yes, you as a chocolatier and even you as a farmer may be personally invested in moving yourself forward, but there may be one or two little areas that you may have overlooked or things that you may not be aware of. And those are areas where, we try to step in and assist. So I would say largely the feedback there is positive.
All right, so we're going to continue the conversation. Now, you spoke about government control versus open market, and I keep hearing you say the word opportunities. So we're going to dive more into that part of the conversation when we come back from this break. Stay with us. We're speaking with Gabriella Gonzales, Manager of the Marketing, Business Development and Communications at the Cocoa Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with the Marketing, Business Development and Communications Manager at the Cocoa Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Ms. Gabriella Gonzales. Now, Ms. Gonzales, when we went to the break, you were speaking about the opportunities that are arising the fact that there's more of an open market. What kind of opportunities do you see? And I go back to the Moruga Agro Park. Even like on your Facebook page, we saw you spending a little moment with the Prime Minister and him talking about his experience with cocoa production. Do you see, because many people are talking about things are low-key, things are going down, things are reduced, the reduction or the disruption caused by the pandemic, do you see opportunities for cocoa and cocoa production and just kind of moving forward with cocoa and cocoa production value added at this point in time?
Yeah, we certainly see opportunities there. I mean, the exciting thing about COVID was that, yes, for a short period of time there, you had a bit of slowdown in the export market because Trinidad and Tobago has always been exporting to countries like Europe, where we knew that the pandemic hit, very hard. So there was a bit of low responsiveness in terms of being able to get the exports out. We were able to step in and facilitate with storage of beans prior to export and those things to ensure that the products that need to go out of the country were safely contained. But in terms of opportunities going forward, because of, again, apart from COVID, what we recognize is, let us focus as well heavily on things like import substitution. Start working heavily with the industrial sector, the manufacturers here, because sometimes there's this prevailing concept that cocoa production in Trinidad is not what it used to be. That is the truth. However, there's still quite a bit of cocoa available, and there's cocoa available for persons who are willing to contract the farmers directly and have them in a long-term business relationship. So we've been exploring opportunities with manufacturers of snacks, manufacturers of various different items. There's actually there's one product upcoming with a large local manufacturer where we have also assisted by stepping in with our certification mark of quality, where we certify the cocoa inputs, making sure they're to the correct standards to go into a product that will be launched locally as well as on the export market. So there are things happening there, and I think a lot of the exporters, because of what has happened internationally, are looking for ways to adjust their supply chains and secure their supply chains. And this is an opportunity right now for the market. In terms of the chocolatiers, I know a lot of them are, coming out of COVID. Some of them have had to adapt how they do sales, and also it has sort of triggered a lot of people into the online sphere, where now they do a lot of sales and ordering through their social media, as well as then they deliver to persons, because this is almost like a embryonic industry, persons making chocolate and value-add products. So you'd find not everybody has extensive distribution throughout Trinidad, but I think COVID has actually brought on the whole thrust and, people valuing now, let me support local, let me buy local. So you find that there's a lot of opportunity inside of that way of thinking. And we certainly have amazing, amazing people making chocolate out there in all the communities. I mean, I could name several, but then...
And that brings me to the question. Sometimes you wonder, okay, what is available? Because you're saying that the reach of one chocolatier or one group or one body may not be that large. But with people who are actually starting to, as opposed to just saying, okay, well, I see it on the shelf, people are looking. Well, in my estimation, people are actively looking to see what is out there and what is being produced locally. So there's some things that we would know, or some bodies that we might know about, because you hear names like Biche and Kush, Brasso Seco, Grand Revere, Sun Eaters, but there's some other people and some other bodies that you all are involved with. So yes, man, call names. Let's hear some of them at this point in time.
Okay, everybody. Well, I'll just to note, so Brasso Seco, Grand Revere, all of those are community chocolate bar companies started by ARC, TTT, companies we would have assisted in funding as well. And you would see their products mostly in the supermarkets and gourmet shops. You also have, well, most people in Trinidad, from the time they hear chocolate, they know of TT Fine Cocoa. They also know of Cocoa Republic. They know the bigger players who are highly visible, as well as they know the persons who are always consistent at the farmers markets. So you're going to see people like Cocoa Dreams. There's people who are Cocoa Dreams. You have Cocoa Bell is also pretty popular. You have the Cocoa Pod in Port of Spain, Exotic Mountain Pride, which you would find in Massey stores, Gina's Truffles. You have House of Orlando in Tobago. You have G1 now from Tabakit, made by the son of a very large exporter. You have Kyrie's Chocolate, Lupino Chocolate Company, the Marshall Montano Bar is available, Montano's Bar. Montreal Cocoa Farmers, Mundo Nuevo Chocolates, which hopefully when the airport opens up, you would see in the duty-free areas, Omar Beans Organic, Watanola Great House, Philippa's Garden, Rancho Tomato Estate, Seaborn Chocolate, Sparkling Gold Chocolates, Tobago Chocolate Delights, Tobago Cocoa Estates doing Dove. There's a lot of people out there, and I think that's probably left out a few, and I sincerely apologize,
And with that in mind, is there something like a registry that the company has so that would help make that bridge between people who need inputs, manufacturers, and the farmers or chocolatiers?
Well, we have an active database, which once you contact us, is available to you. We literally were discussing posting it just online as a publication to have. But a lot of these database type resources will be available very soon on our website, which will be launched hopefully in early August. We should be doing the testing at the end of this month. So that is available. In addition, persons can contact us, just reach out to us, because I think sometimes the challenge is there are many, many players in the cocoa industry. In Trinidad and Tobago alone, we have over 670 active cocoa farmers on acreages of all sizes. We have, as you realize, over 50-something to 60 chocolatiers, and sometimes persons don't always have a handle on who everybody is and where they're located. So one of these things that we try to do is become essentially an information hub for the sector, and try to create these things. And an information hub for different things, information hub for investment purposes, information hub for even persons just doing university research, for information, an information hub for business people who are looking for an opportunity, or persons who have ancillary businesses that require cocoa and chocolate as an input, and they're looking for providers. So those are things that we definitely do and are accessible, but will be even more accessible within the next month.
That was a lovely closing statement. But before I let you go, I just need your contact information, please, because they said people can contact, but how they contact in the company?
You can, you have our Facebook, CDC, TTL, you have our Instagrams, but you certainly contact us directly at the company. Our phone number, we're located in number 16 Mulchan, Suchan Road, Chagonas. Phone number 671-1001. We also, you can email us on info@cdcttl.co.tt for information. And yeah, we are easily reachable. Even if you just want to message us on Facebook because they have forgotten the information, please feel free to message, because my department actually responds to those messages. So the responses tend to be pretty prompt and very accurate. So we are available. That's not an issue. And they could also just reach out to us as a company. The numbers again, 671-1001, and our email, info@cdcttl.co.tt.
We want to thank you so much, Gabriella Gonzales, for taking the time out to let us know. And you're literally blowing my mind, the amount of farmers that we have locally. Definitely something to be paying attention to. Doing it here, we're doing it big. And we want to thank you once more, and we want to thank you for tuning in. So on behalf of the entire news team, I'm DK Roster. Thank you for joining us.